Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
You don't get the results you want, you got to go back. And that's one thing I've asked our players is, it's like the guy that has the heart attack. He has surgery. His wife's taking him home, and he pulls over and says, let me get a pack of cigarettes and a bottle of liquor. And he's probably going to have a heart attack again. So if you continue to do the same things, you're going to get the same results. So we needed to change some things, which I feel like we have. I feel like our players have really bought into what we're trying to do.
Well, in the words of the great Corey Boyd, I'm back like Cracker Jack, or something like that he said one time. So it's good to be back with you here on Sports Talk. You know, I always say every year when I come back from vacation and I say it's good to be back, I don't really mean it. And again, this year, I don't really mean it because I'd rather be on vacation. But since they only allow X a number of days for vacation, you do have to come back. And so we're here all together. Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, the professor Tom Hayes. I got to get used to everybody again. Carson Mason is here. And Jarmart. Jared Rogers Martin. Huh?
We changed his name while you were gone.
You did
Jarmart's
what?
Jarmart's too hard to say. We changed it to J-Dog.
J-Dog?
It's a turf war now.
No. I have labeled him Jarmart. What's so hard about Jarmart?
Jarmart?
Jared Rogers Martin. It incorporates all three facets of his name. Jarmart.
Yeah. By the way, what's next now? You've got a goatee. Kornbluth's right. And his hair in the back, if you guys notice, that is the early stage of a mullet going on in the back here. I mean, do you have a cherry red Corvette parked outside? I mean, what?
Here's the deal.
This is what happened.
I got tired of just being known as handsome.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to be known as distinguished and, great thinkers. You ever notice great thinkers? They always have hair on their chin to rub.
That's because they forget their raises.
Well, maybe that's true. But just something a little different coming off the beach. All right. Hope everybody's had a great weekend, a great day today. We are, of course, going to talk a lot of Gamecocks tonight. It was media day for South Carolina. As they begin practice tomorrow, Clemson will begin practice tomorrow. A number of other teams getting underway today and tomorrow. We'll have Clemson coverage tomorrow when Dabo Swinney talks to the media. But today, heavy Gamecocks. Plus, we're on commitment watch with offensive lineman TJ Moore out of Charlotte, North Carolina. He was supposed to announce at 5 o'clock, USC or Tennessee in all likelihood. He pushed it back to 6 o'clock. Hasn't happened yet. A few minutes ago, they tweeted out a picture of him with his buddies eating wings. Sitting next to him is Gamecock commitment teammate offensive lineman Eric Douglas, sporting his Gamecock Block C T-shirt. Nothing on TJ Moore in the picture would indicate what he's going to do. So we're standing by for that. They're going to Periscope it. And if it happens during a live period here on Sports Talk and the quality's good, we'll bring that to you, right, Jarmart? Jarmart is all over that.
We got it ready to go.
As is Carson. Okay, we'll must-champ tonight. Your phone calls. Perry Orth. I like Perry Orth after listening to him today.
P.O.R.
Back in a moment. Phone number here on Sports Talk is 800-956-7266. Email talkback@sportstalksc.com and on Twitter at SportsTalkSC. Twitter, of course, has been ablaze really all summer long, remains very, very hot as people are getting fired up for the upcoming football season. I'm glad that I brought football back with me to the state of South Carolina. I come back, so do the football players, with USC players and Clemson players reporting today and practices beginning tomorrow. USC at 8:15 in the morning, and the Clemson players will practice tomorrow afternoon. USC's practice closed to the public and the media. The first 15 periods of Clemson's practice tomorrow will be available for the media to watch. Dabo Swinney's going to talk with reporters up at Clemson tomorrow at about 3:30 or so. We'll have that for you tomorrow night here on Sports Talk. Tonight, though, a lot of Gamecocks. We'll hear from Will Muschamp, his first news conference going into his first preseason camp at USC. We'll hear from Perry Orth, one of the competitors for the starting quarterback's job at South Carolina. We'll have that coming up for you tonight as well. And the mood over there, guys, was kind of, well, it's like they know something that we don't know. It's like, okay, you people go ahead out there and think we're going to really, really suck, and we're going to prove you wrong at some point in time during the season. They don't want to really talk a whole lot about what they're doing or who's emerging here or what's going on there. It's sort of like, just wait until September 1st and we'll show you.
Well, I mean, that's what you have to do right now. About a year ago, Steve Spurrier was doing the same thing, calling out his enemies, saying they were going to be better than people expect, and they have a darn good team. And it's what you have to do to motivate yourself. The bottom line is, the fact of the matter is, they're a 3-win team a year ago with a bunch of new pieces in there and unproven pieces. So they need to have a chip on their shoulder. They do have a lot of questions, and maybe it'll work. I mean, they've got some toss-up games right out of the gate. If they can find a way to win those games against Vanderbilt and Mississippi State and Kentucky and East Carolina, certainly that they'll have proven some people wrong going down to their tougher games. But you cannot fault anybody for picking this team last in the SEC and thinking they're going to struggle just because they don't have any proven pieces right now. I mean, who is their best player? Who is the face of the USC football program right now? I think
that's still to emerge at some point in time. But if you
Will Muschamp.
Well, yeah. I mean, player though. What player would you say? I think that's the face of the program.
I think Deebo Samuel has got a chance to be the next great receiver in South Carolina, in the line of a Sterling Sharp, in the line of a Pharaoh Cooper. He's got the talent. He was hurt. The hamstring was a big problem for him last year. He's over that now. This is a guy that his senior year in high school scored, I want to say 23, 25 touchdowns. He has got the skills. He just needs somebody to get him the football. And so that's the question. Who is going to be that guy to get him the football? But I think Deebo Samuel can have an immediate big impact by staying healthy. He would have had an impact last year, but he got hurt early. He missed most of the season. And then you saw a little flash of what he could do in the latter part of the season. I think their offensive line could emerge as sort of the face of the team. I talked with Corey Helms today. I like that kid. He's nasty. He's got that offensive line nasty mentality.
He's got a defensive attitude.
Well, he's blunt.
Line.
He doesn't say a whole lot, but what he says is thoughtful, and he's very serious-minded.
But the face, I mean, you don't usually have an offensive line as a face of your program. You better have some guys behind that offensive line that are the face. That's just the reality of it. You have to have playmakers. You have to have guys that can go out there and win a football game. An offensive lineman, with no disrespect, they're important. They play a key job. But when the game's on the line, they got to block. They got to do their job. But it's the playmaker that's got to go out there and make the play to win a game.
Last offensive lineman that was the face of a program, and I know people talk about the Mandarich, but I thought it was Bill Fraley.
How about John Hanna?
Well, yeah, at Alabama guy too.
Orlando Pace.
Michael Orr.
Blindside.
Well, the interesting thing here is
we can listen. Don't
Yeah.
sell.
But he wasn't the
short.
face of the Ole Miss program when he was there. He had a great story. People liked it.
Well, the face of that program was a running game because that's what they cranked up. I think the key point here is people talking about South Carolina picked last. I look at it in a different way. In that I'm at the blackjack table, and everything's open for me. You got to take the attitude to look. Obviously, they don't know who their playmakers are. And I've always said the other question on that end is neither does your opposition. So we'll see who comes out of it. It'll be interesting to see how the offenses run because I think the key point is how quickly they can have some cohesiveness in their offense. Because a lot of times we're going to see people thinking, wait a minute, did they just audible or something? And that can cost you a ball game.
Sure. All right, a few notes from what Muschamp said today. We'll let you hear from him coming up after the bottom of the hour break. Your phone calls in a moment, 800-956-7266. As far as some of the key things he had to say today, he's been very pleased with the way the guys have bought in, what they're selling. Tight ends, Kyle Markway to be cleared in about 2 weeks coming off the foot. Casey Crosby's going to miss the first couple of days of practice with a chest issue. Couple of freshmen, Stephen Taylor, Evan Henson, they're dealing with injuries. Alan Knott still dealing with a broken hand, but is coming along. Keem Cooperwood remains out. Nothing new on him. He's got a course issue at Georgia Military. He says no date for naming a starting quarterback. Nunez will take reps at receiver, but still in discussion for quarterback. He's hired the Reverend Charles Jackson Jr. as the team's new counselor, local Columbia pastor, played football at South Carolina State. He's filling the role that they had planned for Marcus Lattimore before the NCAA said no. He said all the seniors been working very hard, very little resistance. Credits the previous staff for developing the right attitude with those players. Says Arthur's been great, has all the intangibles to be successful. Blackshear totally cleared from his injuries suffered in that shooting back in December. Jamarcus King really likes him, needs to take advantage of this opportunity. Would not comment on the J.C. Jackson deal, saying he don't talk about players on his team. He said special teams, they'll put the best players on special teams. It's 1/3 of the game, he said, a chance to change the game. So he said the special teams approach is the best players play. So they're just not going to throw guys on special teams because, just to fill a spot. They want good players playing on special teams. Likes the flexibility on the offensive line with Helms, Bailey, Park, and Stanley. All can play multiple positions. He hopes that Charlton be the kickoff guy. Has the leg for it, just has to be more consistent with where he places the kickoffs. So those are some of the highlights from Will Muschamp. We'll let you hear what he had to say coming up in just a couple of minutes. And let's see what else I want to tell you very quickly. NASCAR today, they had a bunch of rain issues up at Pocono throughout the weekend. They could not get the entire race in today. Chris Buescher. Who? Chris Buescher. He's the winner. He was leading after 138 of the scheduled 160. When it was raining so hard, they figured out they could not get the track dry in time to resume. So he gets the W. His first of his NASCAR Sprint Cup career. Does not get him in the chase just yet because he's outside the top 30. But it's an exciting day for him. I've seen a lot of drivers over the years get that first win. Being in the right place at the time of a rain delay. Brad Keselowski finished second. Regan Smith third. Kevin Harvick fourth. Tony Stewart, another fine showing. He comes in fifth. Then it was Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, Carl Edwards, Kyle Busch, and Kurt Busch rounding out your top 10.
Well, the interesting thing about it is this was a fog delay. They showed one turn. If the car went through there, you didn't see it.
I think that would make the race more
exciting. I saw
exciting.
Days of Thunder. I mean, that can be dangerous.
All right, we'll hit your phone calls after the break. Carolina Radio Network here on a Monday, as it's the first Monday of the football season. High schoolers have been at it since Friday. College boys getting after it now. It is a great time to be alive. This is what we live for.
Mm-hmm.
We wait, and we talk, and we talk, and we talk, and now it's time for action. No more talking. Give me some ACTION. Action, action. We want action.
Apparently, with Muschamp, he says there's going to be a little bit more physicality to that action, too.
To Glenn in North Charleston to kick off the week here on Sports Talk. Good evening, Glenn. How are you?
I'm just like you say, it's a good time to be alive. The last month of summer, heat will finally get out of here. It'll be nice, cooler action and weather. And also, football will be more present. And another thing, I just want to remind your cohorts there that Perry Orth was just one throw away from beating the second place country Clemson Tigers. I mean, if he'd got the first down, we'd have won that game.
Well, yeah, they were there for the taking. I mean, Clemson came out flat as a pancake in that game.
Poorly.
And there was a couple of throws. You're right. But he didn't make that throw. That was the problem. He threw across his body and was intercepted, and that cost him points. They had another drive. I mean, they almost yanked him out of that game. Sean Elliott gave him an earful. I like Perry Orth. I love his story. I love the fact that he grinded his way from a bag boy at Publix to the starting quarterback at an SEC school, and he's worked hard. I think he knows the offense, but he's going to have to make better decisions, play a little more within himself. He had a costly throw against Kentucky when they're going down to potentially win that game, and he should have just scrambled, and he throws the ball, and it was intercepted, and they lost that game. Those are things you just can't do if you're Perry Orth. You have to be a game manager. You have to protect the football. What made Connor Shaw so impressive to me was his ability to protect the football. He had one interception, one turnover his senior year.
That was miraculous. That was miraculous.
One. And those are the kind of smart heads-up plays that you have to make if you're maybe not the super athlete, if you're not that all-star, five-star prospect, which we know Perry Orth isn't. But with that said, Corn, I think he'll start against Vanderbilt. And I think
he's got to and maybe the year of experience will certainly come into play. He's got to learn to play within himself. He tried to force some things last year. And he made some mistakes, had a couple of chances to do some good things and threw interceptions in critical points of ball games late. It cost him chances at victory. So he'll learn from that. We have to remember, you're right, K-Mac, the guy was bagging groceries before he
I was asking him BOGO questions instead of football questions when he first
the key point is
that's buy one, get one. Corn.
Let's use the vernacular of a pitcher.
Thought you were talking about Bojangles.
He was wild high. It seems to me when a quarterback is wild and throws it in the dirt, you'd rather that than wild high. A lot of times the adrenaline would be pumping, and Orth would throw it just over the receiver's head or over the receiver's head just enough to get it picked off.
All right, going to hit a break here, and we're watching the periscope of TJ Moore. It looks like they're still eating a little bit, but no announcement yet. It may come here anytime. We'll let you know when we come back. Back we are, Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network from downtown Columbia Main Streets. We are the Sports Talk show of Main Street, South Carolina. Your final word in sports every night here in the great state of South Carolina. Phil Kornblut, Kevin McCrary, Professor Tom Hayes, Jar March, Jared Rogers-Martin, and Carson Mason, all together tonight. This is the team that will march with you side by side into football season. Are we getting an announcement here, Jar Martin? He's standing up and talking. Shall we? I think we are. Let's go to TJ Moore.
Froze up on mine, so give me a second.
Okay. He's pulled something out of a hat. Well, I'll just tell you, he's pulling something out of a hat. It's going on the head, and it looks like, is that Tennessee?
Is that orange?
They're making open up the shirt, and I can get a better view. It's shaking. It's hard to tell. Wait a minute. No, he's putting a shirt on. No, it's Gamecocks. He put a hat on. Wait a minute. He's got Carolina shirt on. I think it's Gamecocks, folks. TJ Moore has committed to South Carolina.
Are you sure about this?
Well, there he is, big as he can be with a South Carolina T-shirt on. So it's South Carolina for TJ Moore. What a pickup for the Gamecocks. All the experts were saying Tennessee today. Should have asked me first. I'd have told you Gamecocks. So TJ Moore has committed to South Carolina. That is a big pickup for the Gamecocks. Have you got it rolling yet, Jar, whatever we call you? A Jar March?
See? It's hard to get out. J-Dog. It's right.
I think we're recording this. So I tell you what, let's go ahead and get to Muschamp, and we'll bring this back up after the break. But TJ, the big news is TJ Moore has committed to South Carolina. Eric Douglas's teammate you can see these guys play, by the way. First week of the season, Mallard Creek will play at Dillon. So you can see them in action. Eric Douglas and TJ Moore going to South Carolina. All right, we'll hear from him after the break. Let's go to Will Muschamp. His first preseason presser earlier today over at USC. Here is the Gamecocks' first-year head coach.
Well, how do you approach last year's 3-9 season? Do you use it as motivation for?
No, we've moved on. It's a new football team this year. Obviously, as a competitor, when you don't have things, you don't get the results you want, you got to go back. And that's one thing I've asked our players is it's like the guy that has the heart attack, and he has surgery. His wife's taking him home, and he pulls over and says, "Let me get a pack of cigarettes and a bottle of liquor." He's probably gonna have a heart attack again. So if you continue to do the same things, you're going to get the same results. So we needed to change some things, which I feel like we have. I feel like our players have really bought into what we're trying to do. And I've been really pleased with that. So it's not really as far as, that part of it. That's where we are, though. That's what our record is, and you are what your record is. So our guys understand that, but it's more about, motivating each other, taking care of each other, a new football team here at South Carolina.
As you'll likely be counting on a lot of true freshmen in various positions. And you said maturity is a big part of that, but your many years in this league, a guy in his first year at a high school trying to play in this league, is there one specific thing or two things that, in terms of hurdles, that you notice always a freshman seems to run into in this league playing for the first time?
Well, the number one thing, the further your position is away from the ball, the easier it is to play. Over my last two stops, we've had 9 defensive backs start as true freshmen. But a lot of times when the further your position is away from the ball, you have more time for your athleticism to take over. It's easier to play receiver. It's easier to play DB as a freshman. I'm not saying we've had DJ Humphrey start with me at left tackle as a freshman. So that's happened before. Maturity, but generally in most freshmen, it's fine when it's just football. Then all of a sudden you mix football and school and study hall, and we're going to check those. Our guys go to class here. So, those are things that you start adding on all the variables, and all of a sudden the social life happens, and eventually they sometimes hit the wall here and there. And it's just a matter of when it's going to happen. It's not if, it's when with most guys. So those are things as an experienced coach are going to happen. You can sort of see the signs when they're coming, and just make sure that our priorities are all in order and what we need to do to be successful.
It sounds like you've got 4 quarterbacks that you want to take a look at early in camp. Do you split those reps pretty evenly at quarterback? And is there a time when you need to kind of narrow the competition down as far as, getting 1 or 2 guys more reps?
Well, we will obviously, I think after the first scrimmage, need to narrow that down a little bit, and that'll be on I believe it's the 13th on Saturday. So whatever that second Saturday is, we'll have a scrimmage that morning. But I think after that, you probably need to narrow it down to 2 guys and kind of go from there, and obviously still try and get the other guys some reps.
Two-part question. Jamarcus King, what are you expecting out of him? How early an impact could he have? And can you shed some light on J.C. Jackson and what happened with him and why he ended up not coming to South Carolina?
Sure. Jamarcus, was a guy that obviously we recruited and a guy that came to our camp and was, I think as important as anything. The quarterback position is extremely hard to evaluate on film. The defensive back position is extremely hard to evaluate on film. A lot of times they're not even in the screen, and you're trying to locate a guy. So here's a guy that we had in camp. We really liked his athleticism, his movement skills, his top-end speed, his finish down the field. He's got really good ball skills. He can finish on plays down the field. And, he has really good tape as well. Extremely bright young man. As I told him in the recruiting process, I make no promises in recruiting. All I'm going to do is promise you an opportunity. It's your job to go take advantage of the opportunity in front of you. So he needs to go take advantage of the opportunities he's going to have, and he'll have them. And, I think athletically he'll fit in very well. On the other situation, I'll comment on the guys on our football team, and those that aren't on our team, I don't have any comment.
Well, what's your philosophy on special teams? Do you like a lot of starters on there?
Best players play. It's 1/3 of the game. It's a chance to control the vertical field position of the game. We don't have enough team speed for our best players not to play. So best players play. It's a chance to change the momentum of a game. Our guys understand my philosophy is what I learned from Bill Parcells. And if you're not a quarterback, you're not an offensive lineman, you don't play special teams, you're a selfish player. We just had a team meeting, and selfish players will not be tolerated in our organization. So they're going to play special teams. And if, the NFL is a 53-man roster, they're 45 active on game day. If they're not the top guy at their position, they're playing special teams. It's the only way they can stay in the league. So they'll understand the importance of special teams.
Well, how fluid is the right side of that offensive line? What did you like from Helms and Park in the spring that put him there in first team right now?
Well, it's all fluid. I mean, that's why we didn't have a depth chart. You didn't give him a depth chart, did you? So I got to watch this guy some days. I don't know what he's going to do. But, Corey can play center. He can play guard. DJ can play inside. He can play tackle. DJ's extremely talented. He's got to learn to just to build through and play hard all the time. That's something that young players, especially bigger young players, sometimes struggle with. But he's extremely talented, and he's had a really good summer. So I'm really proud of him. But those 2 guys are good football players, but he can also play Corey can also play center. Donnell Stanley can play both guard positions and center, and Zach Bailey can play all 5 spots. So we've got some flexibility, and to be able to have that many guys that can snap, which is obviously important for you.
Coach, I know you got a long way to go in camp, but looking forward, when do you start game planning for Vanderbilt? When do you start putting in that system?
Well, we'll have the first scrimmage, which I believe is on the 13th, and then we'll have another week there. We start school on the 18th, I believe, and then we'll have another scrimmage the 20th there in the stadium, which will be much like try and simulate as much as game day as we can. We'll have a pregame meal, that day. We'll have a Friday night meal just like we're going to have before we go to Vanderbilt and those sort of things. So we try and simulate with a young team as much as we can the game day atmosphere. But then as we start moving into the next week, when we've done we've looked at all 12 opponents on offense, defense, and special teams, that Monday and Tuesday of the next week, we'll start, looking at some things that maybe we didn't see in camp from our offense, or some looks our defense doesn't give us, or some looks maybe in special teams that we haven't gone over. And then we'll have about six to 8 good practices that's solely focused on Vanderbilt.
Okay, Will Muschamp, and if you were with him right now, you'd probably hear him hooping and hollering after getting that commitment from T.J. Moore. We'll hear from the Gamecock commitment in a moment.
I want to thank God and my family and everybody that's helped me get to where I am at now, and all the schools that have offered me. I talk to my family, my coaches, and I will be committed to the University of South Carolina. I want to thank God and my family and everybody that's helped me get to where I am at now, and all the schools that have offered me. I talk to my family, my coaches, and I will be committed to the University of South Carolina.
Okay, we're back. Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network. Let's get the recruiting segment up and running here, beginning with the words from T.J. Moore, offensive lineman from Mallard Creek High in Charlotte, just a few minutes ago, with some friends with him at a restaurant in his hometown via Periscope. NCPreps.com providing the Periscope coverage. He looked into the camera and told everybody where he's going to play college football.
I want to thank God and my family and everybody that's helped me get to where I am at now, and all the schools that have offered me. I talk to my family, my coaches, and I will be committed to the University of South Carolina. Thanks everybody for watching, man. University of South Carolina Spurs up. Here we come.
TJ. Why South Carolina?
I've had a great relationship with Coach Elliott from day one, and Coach Muschamp. I think he's going to turn things around. And I just feel like I'm at home when I'm at South Carolina. They treat me well. I mean, everywhere I go, they treat me well. But South Carolina, I just feel like it's home for me.
Does it help with having someone like Eric Douglas, a teammate, from South Carolina?
A little bit, but I really didn't put my commitment on Eric Douglas. But I just feel like if I go there, I'm going to be able to compete really hard, in the SEC, do big things, and that's the place for me.
Any other thoughts?
Spurs up. Here I come. South Carolina.
Thank you.
All right, T.J. Moore, 6'6", 290, out of Charlotte, likely to play offensive tackle. So the Gamecocks now with 4 offensive linemen committed among their 20 commitments. Summy Carlay, Eric Douglas, T.J. Moore, and Dennis Daly. So that's a good-looking group of offensive linemen. That's 20 in the books for South Carolina right now. It's a good-looking class, and you give Muschamp and his people a lot of credit. They don't have a whole lot to sell right now except for hope and an opportunity for early playing time. They can sell hope and an opportunity to play right away, and they're doing what they have to do in recruiting, no doubt about it. I think, while I was gone, of course, y'all had the story about Spurrier going back to Florida, and that's all well and good. I don't think anybody's shocked about that. Maybe now South Carolina will be past the point of leasing a legend for several years or a decade, as the case may be, and maybe Muschamp's going to be that guy to build his own legend at South Carolina. I'll be honest with you, I like everything I see about this guy. Not a bit second choice as that search was going on, but sometimes what you wish for and you don't get, and you get something that works extremely well. I don't see any way he fails. I think he's got a good staff. I think he's going to build the defense because he is a defensive genius. Nobody's going to question his defensive coaching ability. Offensively, it's on Kurt Roper to get it done and develop those quarterbacks. But with Bobby Bentley, a very good offensive mind. Don't forget how good an offensive mind Bobby Bentley was all those years.
Still is, I guess.
And McClendon at receiver and Sean Elliott coaching the offensive line. That's a good coaching staff. So I don't see how they won't win and eventually win big.
Eventually.
Eventually.
It's not going to happen now. And I do think this is something we've talked about. And I think there is a percentage of Gamecock fans that believe the talent is there to win now. And they're hearing that from Will Muschamp, who said, we're going to win now.
See, let me ask you this question as I rub my
is this a new thing too? We're going to pause and rub this goatee.
Like I said, all great thinkers.
How long did it take you to grow that out?
It's a couple weeks.
Anyway,
would you rather be a South Carolina fan today or a Clemson fan? And by that, I mean, would you rather be going into a season loosey-goosey, no pressure? There is no pressure on South Carolina at all, no expectations. Even a win over Vanderbilt's going to, send a chill down your spine. But if you're Clemson, you're playing on the edge every game. If you lose a game, your fan base is going to melt down because you're going to be out of the running of the national championship in all likelihood. Yeah, probably so.
Probably lose one game.
I don't know. If they lose to Auburn, I know it's the first game of the year, but lose to Auburn, a team that's off the radar.
Well, it's a new season. They're not off the radar. That put them right back on the radar, and it's at Auburn.
But I mean, the point is no pressure versus extreme pressure.
You want pressure. That means you have a chance to win. A team that has a chance to win a national championship, a team that just wants to make it to the Shreveport Independence Bowl. Which would you rather? I mean, is that even a real question?
Yeah, I think I'm talking about.
I'd rather be bad and have no pressure than have a team that can win a national championship.
Would you rather be like last year? Clemson played last year with no pressure. Nobody thought Clemson was going to make it to the national championship.
They thought this was the year.
They were picked to win the ACC.
Yeah, but nobody thought they were going to make it all the way to the end. So they kind of played the game with no pressure.
I mean, as that season went along,
well,
I think there was some pressure.
It built. After South Carolina beats Vanderbilt, they'll have some pressure on them to beat Mississippi State.
Big time pressure.
Yeah. All right, more recruiting coming up after the break. All right, more recruiting here on this Monday night. Of course, TJ Moore announcing his commitment to USC just a few minutes ago. Defensive back Tank Robinson from Lake Marion. A lengthy offer list, including USC and Clemson, several other SEC and ACC. He does have a group of favorite schools: Clemson, USC, Tennessee, Louisville, Alabama, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, and NC State. Over the summer, he visited USC, Clemson, Louisville, Mississippi State, Alabama, Florida, and Tennessee. One other school he wants to see this summer, Virginia Tech, but so far hasn't made it to Blacksburg. Clemson and USC have been strong on Robinson going back to last year. They remain in his ear. He is going to wait a little while longer before he makes a decision. He wants to take officials this fall, but has not decided where. Clemson's Brent Venables doing all he can to keep the Tigers in the run for a couple of standouts from Paramus Catholic in New Jersey. Linebacker Drew Singleton, defensive lineman Corey Bowles. They had hoped to get Clemson this summer. Neither did. Both have Clemson in their top 12, and we've previously gone over those lists, and nothing has changed there. But Venables is very highly liked at that school. The coaching staff there really likes the way he recruits and the way he handles their players and the way that he recruits their players. So they'll have a chance on this thing, but Michigan looms large. This is the team that's going to play their season opener in the Big House on Friday night before Michigan plays its season opener. So they'll have a chance to go and use the locker room and all that kind of stuff. Still waiting on the news from Stephen Montack out of Coffeyville Junior College. He's waiting for his transcript to get in to USC so he can join the team. He hopes that will happen no later than tomorrow. He'll have a chance to come in and compete for a cornerback spot, maybe a nickel spot. He'll have 3 years of eligibility to play at South Carolina. When J.C. Jackson's deal fell through at USC, they continued to look for help from the junior colleges at the corner spot. He was one that had been on their radar. And when he visited a couple of weeks ago, that's when he got the official offer from us, champ. Remember, he told us, so we kind of knew something was brewing. It was just a matter of him getting accepted into USC. And still, he's got to get that transcript in, and everything has to be signed off on that. Defensive back C.J. Avery of Grenada, Mississippi. Clemson's in his top 5. Mississippi State. He went to Clemson back in June. Really enjoyed his time there with the Tigers. Now he's going to take a break from recruiting, concentrate on his season. No specific decision date set. Intends to announce his decision sometime after the season. We got more. Oh, yeah, more recruiting coming up after the top of the hour break.
Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
Okay, we're back. Sports Talk South Carolina Radio Network. Continue with the award-winning, always entertaining, never boring, very juicy recruiting report coming off another busy weekend. Of course, the highlight, if you're just tuning in, TJ Moore, offensive lineman, Charlotte, committed to South Carolina tonight. 2017 USC commit cornerback Damari Mathis of Lakeland, Florida, offered by Louisville today. A player USC offered a while back, offensive lineman Billy Ross of Huntington, West Virginia, committed to North Carolina. Defensive end Matthew Butler of Greensboro, North Carolina, over the weekend trimmed his list to USC, Tennessee, Duke, and NC State. I think the Gamecocks have a very good shot to get him. KJ Britt, linebacker from Oxford, Alabama, who reportedly, according to WXIA TV in Atlanta, is down to Auburn in Georgia and was going to announce August 6th. He's put that off now. No new announcement date has been announced. USC was involved with him. Don't know if they'll get back in the hunt. Defensive back Jacoby Stevens of Murfreesboro, Tennessee, a one-time Clemson target. He's down to Alabama, Auburn, Georgia, LSU, according to XIA TV. And he's going to announce on August the 8th. Receiver Justin Marshall of Conyers, Georgia, offered by Ole Miss today. USC's in his top 10. USC and Clemson target, defensive back Xavier McKinney of Roswell, Georgia, offered by West Virginia. 2018 linebacker Taraja Mitchell of Virginia Beach, Virginia, was at Clemson Friday and Georgia over the weekend. 2018 running back Zamir White of Laurinburg, North Carolina. 2018 athlete Darion Kendrick of South Point. They were at USC Friday. 2018 defensive end Xavier Thomas of Wilson picked up offers Friday from Michigan, Notre Dame, Oregon, Texas, and Ole Miss. 2018 quarterback Emory Jones of Franklin, Georgia, a one-time Clemson target, committed to Ohio State. In basketball, 6'10" Nick Claxton of Legacy Charter in Greenville reduced his list over the weekend to USC, NC State, Baylor, Florida State, Maryland, Georgia. Clemson's in the final six with 6'8" Ajike Obina, Ashburn, Virginia. The others are Oklahoma, Florida, Virginia Tech, Texas A&M, Vanderbilt. 6'8" Paul Reed of Apopka, Florida, a Clemson target, offered by Kansas State today. Georgia Tech and Pittsburgh offered Dutch Fork shooting guard Jordan Davis. Clemson offered 2018 shooting guard John Newman III of Greensboro. Wonder if he's related to the former Ole Miss star of the same name, Johnny Newman. Remember him? Pro?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Great shooter. Don't know if they're related. And in baseball, USC's had a little bit of an interesting thing here with baseball, losing signees and commitments here of late. Over the weekend, they lost one of their top commitments for 2017, right-hander Hunter Ruth of Gainesville, Florida, as he switched his commitment to the Florida Gators.
Florida's taking everything from USC, ex-coaches, baseball players.
Yeah, but you know what? Will Muschamp's going to go down there this year and take their heart back. That's what he's going to do.
Coastal already did it.
We're excited. You know, we got a new life about us.
All right, we are back. USC quarterback Perry Orth in a moment. Did I go to sleep and take a very, very long nap and wake up and the Yankees became the Braves in the matter of a couple of days?
That's why the beard is there.
Golly, we have just discarded everybody.
You know, it's interesting. You were talking about recruiting, and I thought probably one of his mentors early on, and Mac Brown, you would think that Muschamp talked to Mac Brown, because remember, Mac Brown, and Corn, you probably followed it, is his recruiting was great at North Carolina his first 2 years. And that first 2 years, they ended up 1-10.
Yeah.
1-10. Then that next season, 8-4, and then they turned around, 2-3 years later, he was head coach of the University of Texas.
Yeah. I'm sure Muschamp has a lot of Mac Brown traits in him, a lot of the positive traits. And, we'll see how it materializes for him at South Carolina. They have, got to sort out the quarterback situation. The only one they've got with any appreciable experience is Perry Orth, who did some good things last year. It wasn't all a disaster for Perry Orth, but he made some mistakes. But we forget the guy, first of all, he went to, one of the Florida AUs or IUs, FAU or FIU, one of those.
It was.
And then he transferred from there and was working the grocery store. You know the story. And it just kind of, because of the situation at South Carolina last year with their quarterbacks, when Connor Mitch, goes down early, and Lorenzo Nunez, if I remember correctly, after Mitch got hurt in the Kentucky game, wasn't it Nunez that came in and played quarterback?
Yeah, he
Am I
started
right
against Missouri.
Yeah, that's right. And wasn't it Nunez who threw the interception late in the Kentucky game as he was rolling to his left?
No, that was Orth.
Okay, that was
Nunez.
Orth.
Nunez only played a snap in that Kentucky game, and it was Orth's game in the second half.
Okay, so that was one of the plays I was talking about where he tried to make a play that his ability at that time didn't allow him
Same
to
against
play.
Clemson, he threw it across his body.
Exactly.
You just can't do that, and missed some third down throws that would have kept the chains moving, but did settle in a little bit in the second half. He's got to make the easy throws, and no one should ask him to make a really tough throw. But he doesn't have Pharaoh Cooper to toss it up to.
True,
and that was a big bailout. That was a big safety.
But you know what? I think,
and same with Adams, who's gone.
I mentioned Debo Samuel, and
Wilds.
We'll hear from him probably later in the week. But he talks about one of the things they're going to use him on are the jet sweeps. So you're going to see Debo Samuel. He's not going to throw the ball like Pharaoh did. He's not a quarterback, but you're going to see him in a position to get the ball in a number of different ways. Today we had a chance to talk to Perry Orth. He's a stand-up guy. He knows, he knows how the fans feel because they want something new. They want something fresh, bright, young, and exciting. And maybe he's not all that, but maybe he will be the guy when they go to Vanderbilt. Here is our conversation with Perry Orth earlier today, talking about getting ready to head out for the start of camp.
We're excited. We got a new life about us this season. The new locker room downstairs is pretty nice. We've worked tirelessly to turn it around this summer, and, we're hoping for the best this season.
What have you seen from guys that give you that hope that you can turn it around?
The new discipline that we have that Coach Muschamp, Coach Dillman's installed over the offseason. I think that everything's been more attention to detail, a lot more strict on some things, but we're just overall excited. There's a new enthusiasm I think that we were missing last year, and we're really excited to go into this camp.
How about the quarterback competition?
Oh, excited as always. Every single year I've been here, I've been in a competition with somebody, so it's nothing new. Brandon and Jake and Lorenzo, everybody that's going to be playing quarterback, they're all talented, as you guys all well know, and we're excited about it.
How is it difficult not to be selfish and look out for yourself at the same time? You want to help the young guys come along.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm going to help those guys because they're my teammates. I want Carolina football to be good, not necessarily myself. And that's how I've always been since I've gotten here. But, you always got to look out, for yourself. You got to make sure you're paying attention to meetings, getting taking notes, making sure you're staying ahead of the game. But at the same time, if they have a question, I'm not going to not answer it because I'm their teammate and I'm their friend before I'm their competitor. We'll compete against other guys starting September 1st. So.
You talked about that attention to detail. Did you see that during the summer workouts?
Yeah, absolutely. The biggest thing that I saw, like I said, was the attention to detail, and it was not so much the things we were doing, it was what they were saying and making sure we understood that every little thing mattered, whether it be touching the line or finishing your reps on time. Just little stuff like that they emphasized over the summer, I think is going to help pay dividends this offseason.
How do you feel? How's your injury? Do you feel any lingering effects from what happened in the spring?
I actually feel better than I did before spring. I worked really hard this summer, just like I did last summer. I'm 5 pounds bigger than I was last year coming into the season, and I feel more athletic, and I think it gave my body actually some time to rest still from the previous year. But they put us through a very strenuous summer workout plan. I think that's gotten me ready to play, and the rest of our guys.
Do the coaches give you any credit for what you did last year, or has the slate just been totally wiped?
They saw that I was capable of playing at this level, and that's why they included me in the competition right away. But the slate is completely clean. It's a fair game, tossed up just like it was last year, and hopefully I can come out on top.
How do you feel you've improved over the off season?
Just the maturity of being around the program now, coming into my second year, having started 8 games last year and playing. I feel more mature, and when we're doing practice in spring, the game was a lot slower. It seemed to slow down a little bit. We were still learning a new playbook, but I still felt really comfortable with my performance through those 8 practices that I was doing, and I just felt like everything was slowing down.
Okay, there you go. Perry Orth, USC quarterback. We'll see if he can hang on to the job or if one of the youngsters snakes it away from him. Brandon McElwain will certainly have the advantage over Jake Bentley in that he's been in school since January. He went through spring ball, knows things maybe a little bit better, but Jake Bentley's a very smart kid. There's no doubt about that. He's got a lot of skills as well. In pro, he's been well schooled in the position, having grown up in a quarterback, not just a football family, a quarterback family. Every football player to this point to come out of the Bobby Bentley household has been a quarterback. And I remember in covering some of Bobby's other kids as they were coming up, he would say, hey, wait till my 6th grader gets here, talking about Jake. Wait till my 7th grader gets here. Mm-hmm. He's the biggest one of the group. He's the tallest one of the group. But the nuances of playing quarterback in the SEC came-ac and learning the playbook and all that, how quickly. You heard Perry Orth say, in the spring, and this is what every coach and player looks for, the game slowed down for him. Mm-hmm. And that's when you're able to make plays.
Well, here's the difficult thing that South Carolina has to juggle, and we've seen it before, is you got a senior guy who's been a leader off the field and a leader on the field, yet and still South Carolina football does not end when he graduates. So at some point in a meaningful part of the game, one or both of these young quarterbacks will have to be thrown into the fray. Mm-hmm. And when you look at it, if Orth is on a roll, do you pull him to say, look, here, this guy needs some rep, or you say, wait a minute, he's on a hot streak, leave him in?
Absolutely. You don't ever take a guy off a heater.
But we've seen it before when, for whatever reason, we ask, what is he doing? Why did they take him out?
I never liked that. On the 3rd series, this guy's going in because what if the guy scores a touchdown on the first 2? You keep him in there and let him try to do 3.
Well, David Williams today, and we'll hear from him this week, the running back, he said the biggest problem for him has been he doesn't get enough carries. Mm-hmm. Now, the flip of that is you have to earn the carries. You have to show that you can be the man, but he feels like he would, as he said, he'd get 4 carries, 5 carries. They take him out. And he wouldn't get back in the game. He never could get into a flow, never could get into the rhythm.
You do got to make the most of them. And the offense has to keep you in the game. If you're down 14 points, you're not going to be giving anybody many carries. And Brandon Wilds was a better running back ahead of him. So, I mean, he was behind somebody. And this is his chance now. And he's got a lot to prove.
He's got to be the guy because behind him, nothing but inexperienced players.
That's everybody on that team pretty much.
All right, we'll be right back. 800-956-7266, the number. You know, we're talking about South Carolina situation. By the way, 800-956-7266, talking about the Gamecock quarterback situation and reading some stuff from our correspondent up at Clemson, David Hood, covering the Tigers, talking about, no, not Deshaun Watson, but what if Watson gets hurt? And you know what? They have some concerns about who that guy will be. Kelly Bryant, they're not sure. Nick Schuessler, not sure, or Zarek Cooper.
But here's a good thing if you're Clemson. It would obviously be tragic. That takes you out of the national championship picture, certainly. But they have so many weapons on that offense. They have an experienced offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
They have a workhorse running back in Gallman, and they have so many pieces on the outside to turn to. And Mike Williams back, and Artavis Scott, and Deion Kane. They have Feaster that they're going to be putting in there as well. They have a lot of different guys that are going to be able to get out there and make plays. So even if it is Schuessler, if there's an extended period of time or a short period of time where Watson leaves, I think they're okay on offense to at least maintain. The question is, will the defense be able to?
But so many
maintain?
Pages you have to tear out of that offensive playbook.
Oh yeah.
Well, you know,
it's a different look.
In checking on the Tigers and reading up some of the thoughts up there, you know, they have some real. I mean, I know they've got talent, but they have some real concerns on defense. You know, will Austin Bryant, Cleveland Farrell, others be able to supply the pressure at defensive end that they're used to having there? The offside cornerback from Cordray Tankersley, who's going to emerge there? How good will they be? Will it be Mark Fields? Will it be somebody else? Safety play, the two starters, okay, but what about your backups? A little bit concerned about the backups there. So, you know, Clemson, no doubt a juggernaut and a team to be contended with when it comes to the national championship. However, like everybody, they've got their flaws. You know, Ohio State, after they won the national championship, everybody thought they'd be a shoe-in to do it again. And some flaws emerged there, and they kind of faded away.
And it's hard to repeat anything, and they have a huge target. They're not going to sneak up on anybody.
See, it's the pressure. That's exactly what I was talking about. They're feeling the pressure.
Yeah,
sometimes you relax.
Let's trade and be bad.
You relax. No, the key point is, as I was saying before, one of the reasons I think Muschamp is talking up this team is the fact that attitudes have to change. There were guys who left plays on the field last year because they were having a pity party, and they'd hold their heads down. Whereas if you look at Dabo, with all the talent he had, he exploded in that interview when somebody said Clemson. Why do you think he did that? He didn't want any malware in that computer. You're good. I say you're good, and don't let anybody tell you you're not.
I got a feeling it might not happen this season. It might be 2017. Muschamp's going to explode on somebody at some point.
Oh, that's going to happen in practice tomorrow.
I mean,
go out on a limb.
Well, no, I mean, really, did he ever explode on the media at Florida?
Oh, you mean on the media?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm talking about on the media. In the media section.
Think of a question.
Did he seem like he was going to explode today?
Oh, no. I'm just saying I think it's boiling inside of him at some point in time. It's going to erupt. Unlike Spurrier, who would have his little fights, I think Muschamp will blow up at somebody some point. We'll be right back. Okay, we're back. Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network, 800-956-7266 is our phone number. Email talkback at sportstalksc.com and on Twitter at SportsTalkSC. As we move towards another anniversary night here on Sports Talk, a couple more weeks. I think that Don Williams and I always argue about the actual anniversary day of Sports Talk. He said it was the first Monday prior to the opening of the season of 1984 that we began. I remember something more in August of 1984. He's probably right, and I'm probably wrong.
I remember George Orwell.
I don't think there's any question about that.
We'll celebrate it in a couple of weeks. But a week from tonight, have y'all spilled the beans on this?
We're teasing.
Okay.
We're just teasing.
Yeah. We got some major changes not coming to the personnel. Personnel are still here.
Well, as far as we know, they
this
haven't.
is true.
Friday could be an interesting day.
Some things are going to happen, however, on Sports Talk that you, our loyal Sports Talk listener, you're going to like it. Okay, so I'm going to tell you, you're going to like it. No, we're not doing 2 more hours. I know that's what you want. I know that's what you're clamoring for. We're not going to do that.
3, didn't you?
We did do 3 at one time for some insane reason. We're sticking at 2, but it's going to be a much smoother 2. We'll put it to you that way. Let's continue with the coverage of USC Media Day today, talking with the players. We heard from Perry Orth. Defense, Jonathan Walton, one of the linebackers. No Sky Moore back there with the linebacking crew this year. But if, the linebackers at South Carolina as a group, probably the strength of the defense. And, of course, they know they were singed a good bit last year, and as a group, they want to redeem themselves. We had a chance to talk with Jonathan Walton about the upcoming season, no Sky Moore, and his role with this defense under Will Muschamp and company.
Living without Sky Moore this year, what's that going to be like for you?
A little awkward. I mean, been with him, past couple of years, so it's the first year I'm adjusting to not having him out there. I live with him, so that was kind of still in there, but on the field it's going to be a little weird.
How's he dealing with the knowledge that, he's not going to be on the field this year?
It's pretty rough. I mean, it's really rough. Nobody really takes that lightly, so he's adjusting still. So,
do you personally have to go to him sometimes and help lift him up a little bit and encourage him to keep doing whatever it is he's doing?
Not really. He's a pretty good spirited guy. He pretty much stays up on his own, stays positive. He's pretty much coming to us, keeping us up, just filling in the spot that he fell out of and just keeping the team up.
I guess if there's one place on the team that could handle a loss like that, despite how good he is linebacker, you still feel good about the linebacking core as a group?
Yes, I do. And I'm pretty excited to see us all on the field together and work together as a team.
How has Coach Hutzler changed things in terms of the way you guys play the positions?
Changed it tremendously. I love what he's doing. I mean, the effort he's just bringing us to play with. He's showing us how versatile we all are, and using our skills, that we can both be. We got linebackers that can both pass rush, coverage, and that's a huge deal for them for what they're trying to do.
How anxious are you for September 1st to get here and that game at Vanderbilt? At SEC Media Days, they were talking a little smack and predicting a win on their side.
Yeah, we'll see. We let the past do the talking, so we'll see once that time comes, but I'm pretty excited about it.
I mean, you have a good deal of confidence in this team, in this camp going in and developing quick enough to go on the road and open up with a win?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, we've been working all summer, and, I mean, all spring, I doubt this work. We've been working really hard, and I just really doubt this work is going for a loss, so that's all I'm saying.
See what I mean? They're kind of just biting their tongue and keeping things in, ready to let their work and their actions speak for them instead of speaking out about various and sundry things related to their team and their season and their opponent. So we shall see if that works for the Gamecocks. All that built-up rage to be unleashed on the Commodores on Thursday night in Nashville, to be heard up and down Broadway in the honky tonks, where even Tim McGraw might be distracted.
It's going to be a sad country song for
by what the Gamecocks are gonna bring into Nashville. All right, coming up, we're gonna begin tonight Oh, look at that. Somebody for the Mets just hit a home run. See, I knew it. We're the better team. We're going to get beat tonight. Coming up, we'll have the first of our month-long series of previews of SEC and ACC teams. And we're doing a Jarmar. We're going to start with who tonight?
We got to start with the people who won it all, Alabama.
Alabama will be first up tonight when we get to that in just a few minutes. And every night here on Sports Talk in the month of August, we'll hear from either Carson or you're going to do some as well?
Oh, I'm picking up
Jarmar?
a few there.
Okay. And we'll have a preview of an ACC or an SEC team. Next week, we begin the annual exclusive Palmetto football pigskin tour, the Palmetto Pigskin Tour of South Carolina, and going to hit up all the schools in the states and looking forward to that. Always love going around visiting with the coaches and the players for these other schools. Of course, we spend so much time and attention on the Gamecocks and the Tigers, and justifiably so. It's going to be it's always a lot of fun to hear from these other coaches and players because they work just as hard. And they're out there in the heat and in the thunderstorms like the one we're having right now. We got a major storm going through downtown Columbia right now.
Well, major thunder. I don't see any rain.
That's just Will Muschamp getting ready to start practice.
Maybe that's what it is. His stomach is grumbling or something. But we're looking forward to that. Beginning next week, we'll start hitting the trail around the state of South Carolina. We'll fill you in advance about where we're going to be. And if you're in the area, you can come out and see us wherever we happen to be. All right, our poll question of the week here on SportsTalkSC.com, our poll question. I think this is a good poll question. What do you think, K-Mac?
What do I think? Well, read the poll question. I'll tell you what I think.
Do you not know what the poll question is?
But I mean, go ahead and read it so everybody else.
All right. Well,
knows.
it's an open-ended statement with you, the voter, to finish it up with one of two answers or one of two finishes. Steve Spurrier's departure for Florida, A, really ticked me off because he quit on the Gamecocks again, or B, doesn't bother me because, after all, he is headed home. So far, about 79% of the voters say it doesn't bother me because he is, after all, headed home. Should anybody be bothered by that?
No, of course not. It's the timing of it all. The whole thing's strange. I mean, Spurrier this time last year was coaching South Carolina. He quit in the middle of the season, then kind of hung around and apologized a bunch to where it was getting uncomfortable. Got paid $100,000 to wear a visor.
They just recently name the indoor facility.
They did
after him.
And he said he made a comment that he wanted to do more at South Carolina, and they wouldn't let him. I think they would have liked him to do a little more recruiting. That might have helped. That'd be one thing they'd probably like a little more of. But Spurrier put in his decade and built the program up to a level that it had never been built. The facilities are in better shape. They're more on the map. He didn't leave a big talent bed for Will Muschamp, but you'd sign up for a decade and a half of Steve Spurrier, that exact same run again if you're South Carolina. So I think Gamecock fans are happy with what they got. It's probably good that that's been cleared.
It's too bad. You know, it really is. Think about it. The only place things ended well for him was at Florida because he walked out as a big-time winner. Ended poorly in Washington after a short stay. Ended poorly.
Never got fired.
In Columbia. Never got fired. Well, you know, the Washington people might disagree. You know, he can determine how he
quit
wants.
Before they fired him.
You know, just like, you know, the NCAA he never got hit by the NCAA, but in actuality, he did have penalties while he was the head coach at South Carolina. He just wasn't named in any of it, and he didn't have anything to do with it, but it was on his watch.
Whatever happens, he made a lot of Benjamins.
He did.
And still will be paid down there at Florida. And I think it's good in this case.
He didn't even need the money because the Redskins paid him $25 million.
Will Muschamp is the coach now. And I think it's a good time for him to exit stage left because now it's Muschamp's program and Steve Spurrier's nowhere around.
You know, in the hallway leading through their locker room area, heading out towards the door, they have, you know, pictures, art of players and all that. They still have Spurrier on the wall in that hallway heading out of the locker room. All right, Alabama coming up. enough of a bed. All right, let's begin our series of college football previews here on Sports Talk. Carson Nova with a look at Alabama.
Another accomplished year in the books for the Alabama Crimson Tide. And by accomplished, I mean the team won the College Football National Championship with only one loss all season. Head coach Nick Saban is coming off of his 5th national championship, his 4th with Alabama, but he's already set on getting to 6. That doesn't mean Alabama won't face challenges of its own, though.
The diversity in players that we had on last year's team was almost perfect for what you need in this day and age of football. With the spread, with no huddle, you need a lot of depth. You need a lot of athletic guys who can make plays in space, who can rush the passer. And then when you play some of the power teams in our conference, you need some bigger, more physical guys to be able to stand in there. Well, we kind of had all those parts. I'm not sure we have all those parts this year, but certainly we're working to try to develop them.
The Tide lost 7 key players to the draft this offseason, including center Ryan Kelly, inside linebacker Reggie Ragland, and defensive tackles Ashawn Robinson and Jerron Reed. Last season, the team led the nation in run defense, allowing less than 76 yards per game on average, and sacks with 52. But for the most part, the team's trenches will still be intact, as 3 starting offensive linemen will return, and veterans Jonathan Allen and Dalvin Tomlinson will work to keep the D-line dominant. In Saban's own words, this marks the first season where the team doesn't have an experienced running back, as they also lost both Derrick Henry and Kenyon Drake to the NFL draft. Since Alabama is used to losing several talented players to the draft, it's hard to expect this year to be any different, and Saban is already focused on rebuilding.
Our team has had a very good offseason. I've been very pleased with the progress that we've made. We obviously lost some really, really good players from last year's championship team. Good leadership, good people, great team chemistry, all things that are intangibles that are difficult to build and are challenges to recognize as they develop, because those things just don't happen overnight.
Alabama will have 14 total starters returning in the fall, including several talented members of the receiving corps, like tight end O.J. Howard. And don't forget about Calvin Ridley and Adarius Stewart. Those two form one of the SEC's best 1-2 receiving punches and will help keep Alabama's offense explosive like it was all last year. But in football, it doesn't matter how good the receivers are if they don't have anyone to throw them the ball. And questions still loom at the quarterback spot, according to Saban, who says the competition will most likely continue into the fall.
We obviously have some challenges. For the third year in a row, I'm standing up here talking about somebody's going to be a new quarterback for us, and somebody's got to win that job. Somebody's got to win the team. That hasn't necessarily happened yet, and I'm not going to sit up here and sort of try to, I don't know the right word, but give you some statistics on who's winning the race and how the race is going and who's ahead, and are they on the back stretch or in the final turn. That's something that's going to happen probably in fall camp.
After the team's spring scrimmage, a couple of guys are still in the mix for the job to replace QB Jake Coker. The group includes rising sophomore David Cornwell, junior Cooper Bateman, redshirt freshman Blake Barnett, and freshman Jalen Hurts. All four guys were shuffled around during the spring scrimmage, but Bateman is the only guy who has played a college game before. Saban said he saw some good arms during spring, but really what the race will come down to is leadership skills. Now let's look ahead to the schedule. Offensive coordinator Lane Kiffin will have his chance to seek his revenge on the school that fired him, as Alabama will open its season against Southern Cal September 3rd in Arlington. And the game on everyone's mind already is Week 3, when Alabama will travel to Ole Miss, who handed them the only loss of their season last year when they went down 43-37 at home. For Sports Talk, I'm Carson Mason.
Carson Nova with us here on Sports Talk. Great job breaking down Alabama. Their defense will be fantastic once again. They are loaded on defense. And, the thinking is quarterback, schmorterback. It doesn't matter at Alabama. You could put K-Mac in there at quarterback. You're going to score enough points and just turn around and hand
crazy. I would not be a very good quarterback.
Turn around, hand the ball
Alabama.
off to
that is a fact.
To Bo Scarborough. Get the ball to Ridley. You'll be fine because the defense is going to be swarming.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned that, because he said this is the third year he's breaking in a new quarterback. However, this is the first year he's going to try to break in a new quarterback and turn around, and that experienced bell cow running back isn't there.
True.
So this is going to be interesting. And he probably loves this challenge. He said, watch, we're going to win it again, Lane, even though we have to, replace Henry and our quarterback.
Did you find that tweet by Lane Kiffin?
Yeah, well, he was retweeting a story on Gridiron Now, and the title of the story was "Tennessee loaded with top-level recruits, but they're leaving the state." So he tweeted the thing out on his Twitter feed with that headline.
Yeah.
So I think he just was reading the story. You know how to let you push the tweet button,
right?
And it does it for you because it did the exact same headline, but it's still funny.
Yeah.
That
Now remember, he's got to go to Knoxville this year.
Yes, he
does. He doesn't care. That guy, he'll take a flamethrower or anything. I want him and Nick Saban in a room together is
quick question.
Gotta be interesting.
Quick question: most logical replacement for Nick Saban, Kiffin or Sweeney? When the time comes. Be right back. Up at Clemson today, they weighed in. The Tigers did. Literally weighed in the players. Literally weighed in on the players and weighed the players. From David Hood up at Tiger Net, and some sizes of these Tigers as they weighed in. Tyrone Crowder at 333. Now, Falcinelli at 307. Prue Morgan at 300. Maverick Morris at 300. Taylor Hearn at 327. How many more years will it be when the average offensive line will be in the 400s? I mean, seriously, are we heading towards?
No.
You don't think we'll get that large as humans?
Because you've seen some offensive lines go a little smaller that move around a little bit more.
Cannon Smith weighed in at 264. He's headed towards being an offensive tackle. He keeps growing like that. Let's see. Wide receivers. TJ Chase. He must he was the one they were waiting on, right? He must be there. He weighed in at 164. Did I miss that? He's there. Weighed in at 164. DeAndre Overton, 196. Cornell Powell, 201. Running backs, Adam Choice, 206. Tavian Feaster weighed in at 207. C.J. Fuller, 213. Wayne Gallman, 210. Quarterbacks, Watson at 218. Cooper at 205. Defensive line, Gage Cervinka at 309. Albert Huggins, 300. Sterling Johnson, 301. Dexter Lawrence, 342. That's a man. He runs.
Big.
He runs well
that's
too.
Heavy. That's heavy. That's too heavy.
No. He plays. He plays with that weight.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He's still too heavy because let's face it, he gets out in the hot sun, that motor will run 3 or 4 plays. He'll be gassed have to come out.
Niles Pinkney, 293. Carlos Watkins, 303. Christian Wilkins, 300. K-Mac's personal favorite, Ben Boulware. What do you think he weighed in at?
With 260.
233. J.D. Davis, 227.
Only 30 pounds off.
Judah Davis, 235. Let's see. Defensive backs all in the Jadar Johnson, 217. They love Isaiah Simmons. They think Venables, they think he might play very early at safety, 221. Why do they even weigh the specialists? I mean, what is the point of weighing your kickers?
How much do the specialists weigh?
Hugel, how much do you think Hugel weighed?
60 pounds.
197.
That's good weight for a kicker.
How about Teasdall? How do you think Teasdall weighed?
I think Teasdall weighed 36 pounds.
187.
Just as long as you're heavy enough that when a running back breaks out in the secondary, that you can trip him up by the ankle.
By the way, if you're interested, they have video of the Clemson players being weighed in, and I think Dabo stands there and says something to each one of them as they weigh in. So if you want to watch that, it's 22 minutes worth on the Clemson football YouTube channel. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, K-Mac. Thank you, Pro. Thank you, Carsonova. Thank you, Jar March. Good to be back. And we look forward to a great football season here on Sports Talk. We continue tomorrow night. We'll see you then.